I see a lot of advisors that start to post videos on YouTube, and they might post a couple videos maybe for a week, a month, or even up to a year, but eventually I do see them stop. And when I have conversations with these advisors, because I reach out and I talk to them and I try and figure out why they stop, I find out that it's not a motivation problem, it's a systems problem. And in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys the exact 3 strategies that you can utilize to never run out of video ideas again in your business, so that you guys can consistently make video content, which will in turn consistently bring you guys leads in your financial business, your insurance brokerage, whatever it is, for years and years to come. What is up, guys? For those of you new to the channel, my name is Philip Setter. I've been in the insurance industry for over 10 years now, and I've been able to scale my own practice to 6 figures and beyond 100% online using social media and digital marketing. If you guys want to do the exact same thing in your business, I recorded a 2-hour full free mini course that you guys can have access to. Just click the link in the description, or I'll put it in the pinned comment as well. But without further ado, let's just get right into this video. Now, before we get into this video and the exact strategies that you can utilize to never run out of video ideas again for your business, or for your YouTube channel, I should say, before we get into that, I'm kind of assuming that you're already sold on YouTube. Maybe you're posting some videos on YouTube and you're already making it. Maybe your channel has been around for, a month, a year, couple years, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So I'm assuming you're starting from that place. However, if you're not starting from that place and you're still unsure on whether or not you should be using YouTube or video content marketing as a financial advisor, I would encourage you to watch this video there, where I go in depth on how you can use YouTube as a financial advisor to scale your practice. And in my opinion, video content marketing is the best way for financial advisors to get clients moving forward in 2026. Because here's the thing, with all the different AI and other technologies and ChatGPT and all the other forms of written content that can be so easily generated nowadays, it's very difficult to set yourself apart in that world by blog posts or social media posts, maybe on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. However, one of the best ways that you can build that know, like, and trust factor with your clients is by video content marketing. Exactly how you're watching me right now. You're looking at my face and my hat in the background and listening to my voice and determine whether or not you like me or not. Your clients are also doing that. And video is the best way for you to establish that credibility. And it's also one of the best ways that you can explain complex subject material, such as financial planning, investments, insurance, taxation, etc., retirement planning, estate planning. So video content marketing is the holy grail, in my opinion, to get clients as a financial advisor or insurance broker moving forward. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into the actual presentation here and start going over the 3 strategies that will allow you to infinitely come up with video ideas for the rest of your life. And by the way, stick around obviously to the end, because the 3rd idea, the very last one, is going to be the most important. It's probably something that you don't expect as well. So starting with number 1, which maybe is one of the most obvious, but I talk to a lot of advisors and I see a lot of advisors making content, and I used to be the same way as well, but having no plan or system in place. So I'm actually shocked at the amount of advisors that I see posting videos on YouTube or social media or anything like that, but we're specifically going to be talking about YouTube, that are really just posting when they feel like it. So maybe they'll read an article, or they'll see some new update that comes out, or they'll talk to a friend, or they'll get an idea, and then they decide to make a video on that. But here's the thing, when you're doing that, when you're posting when you feel like it, that inspiration is only going to work short term. So maybe at the beginning, exactly what happens to all the other advisors that I see on YouTube, they post for a little while, they get some inspiration, they might have a little bit of some ideas that come to their head, and then all of a sudden, when that's gone, they don't post the next month. And that lack of consistency is going to hurt your reach on YouTube. YouTube rewards people that have consistency and that you can see each and every single month are posting content. In fact, YouTube really just waits 3 to 6 months for your first channel. If you're just starting on YouTube, it is gonna wait 3 to 6 months before it even really starts to show it to people, because they're not sure if you're gonna be around for a long time, and they don't wanna show your content, to people if you're only gonna make a couple videos and then be gone from the platform. They wanna make sure that you're gonna be around for the long term before they start showing it to all of their viewers. So they reward consistency. They wanna see that you're going to be a regular on the platform and that you're going to continue to use it. So having a plan or system to consistently come up with content is going to allow you to just easily generate it each and every single month. So that's number 1. Number 2, is doing one video at a time. So what I mean by that, instead of batching your content, which I'm gonna talk about here in a second, you come up with an idea. Let's say you had a idea for maybe something that came up in the news, or you talked to a friend, or you talked to a client. You thought, oh, that's a good video idea. Then you go out and you come up with the title, then you script it, then you record it, then you edit it, then you schedule it, and then it gets published, and now we're back to square one. Now we need to go back to the beginning and do another video and do all those steps again. So you never actually get into, a state of flow when it comes to doing all these different processes. So I'm gonna explain to you guys how I batch all of my content so I can easily come up with 8 long form videos and 5 to 10 shorts every single month very easily without having to be overwhelmed and going back and forth between all the different steps. And number 3, inspiration only works short term, so you need to have something that's repeatable that you can do each and every single month. So this is what I recommend to everyone who's starting on YouTube. If you're new on YouTube, this is what I would start with. If you've been around for a while, once you've built up some traction in the library, maybe you can reduce it. However, I would recommend if you're starting a new YouTube channel, I would start with 8 long and 5 to 10 short, okay? Shorts. Now, long form videos are anything, over probably 5 minutes. So a lot of people ask me, like, how long should a long form video be? It should be as long as it needs to be and not a second longer. So you want to work on refining your videos over time and getting them as short as they can possibly be. But depending on the subject material and the complexity of what you're trying to explain, could be 10 minutes, could be 15 minutes, could be 20 minutes, could be 30 minutes, could be 40 minutes. It doesn't matter. You just don't want to ramble on for too long and make it longer than it needs to be. So this could be, let's say, 10 to 45 minutes. And shorts are obviously 60 seconds or less. Okay? This is what I would commit to on a monthly basis. Now, let's talk about a system, how you can actually organize this on an ongoing basis. So, when it comes to creating content, I batch all of my content. So I do everything from one step at a time, and then I move on to the next step. So let's just go through all these steps. So step number 1 is ideation. This is actually coming up with the titles for all of your videos. So 8 long videos and 5 to 10 shorts. So coming up with what video ideas we're going to create. So this could be, term life insurance versus permanent life insurance, or RRS Explained Full Guide 2026, or Universal Life Insurance compared to Whole Life, or whatever it is. These are the actual titles. So you want to research all of these different things, and I'm going to talk about that here in point number 2. You want to come up with 8 long form and 5 to 10 shorts, just the titles. That's number 1. Number 2 is now scripting. Now, how I like to script my videos is just by bullet points. As you can see here, I just have a few bullet points that I've written down, but even when I'm in front of the computer where I don't have my little laptop here, I'm still looking at a screen and I just have bullet points that I am looking at, and then I'm looking back at the camera, and then I'm speaking about that one bullet point, and I'm stopping, looking back at the laptop, looking back at the camera, and then continuing. So I script everything just by bullet point because it comes off as more genuine and raw, and people connect with that better than having something fully scripted where you're reading word for word, Okay, the difference between term life insurance and permanent life insurance. So I think that works better. However, some people may want the full script, but personally for me, it is just bullet points, step by step by step. I'm going to talk about, okay, the basics of term life insurance. I see that. I look back here. I do that. Okay. So number 2 is scripting. Do that for everything. By the way, I have a full Trello board that I've created that can manage all of these different processes. If you want access to that, where you can manage on a monthly basis all of your workflow for everything that I'm going to share here, just comment Trello below and I'll send you a link to that. Totally free. You guys can have access to that, and we can, you can utilize that to keep track of everything. But that is how I would do number 2 is scripting. Number 3 is now recording. And again, I like to batch everything. So for example, now I'm in my recording phase. So this is the last video that I need to do for my batch for the following month from now. Next month is already booked up. It's the following month because I'm always 1 month in advance. So this is the last video. Yesterday I recorded 3 videos. The day before that I recorded 4 videos. So I'm done 8 videos in 3 days. I batch them over time because you can get a bit of a flow state and you're kind of more comfortable in front of the camera when you're just doing them all at once. And I find it just works a little bit better as well. Number 4 is now editing or sending it to your editor. In my case, I have an editor. I send it to my editor. But if you're editing the videos yourself, now you can go through the entire editing process. And number 5 is now optimizing, and SCH scheduling. So now you're putting everything on YouTube, adding tags, adding keywords, adding titles, adding descriptions, end cards, links, anything that you need to do, and then scheduling it for the following month. And then number 6 is analyze. So you have these 6 different steps that you need to book in your month, and it doesn't matter when you book them, but you need to book these in your month as non-negotiables. So for me, for example, I like to start my ideation process usually around the 20th of every month. I like to start my scripting around maybe the 25th, somewhere around there. My recording, I like to start around, the 25th to the 1st, somewhere around that period. Editing, I like to have everything sent to my editor by the 1st, maybe or the 2nd, the beginning of the month, and then they try and get it back to me by, let's say, the 10th or the 15th. Like to have it by the 10th, but sometimes it's by the 15th. And then scheduling, I like to have everything scheduled by the 15th, and then analyzing, you are then analyzing the previous month of content to see what worked and what didn't on the 20th. And that is your repeatable system again and again that you have. You can see here it goes from the 20th basically to the 20th. So you have this ongoing monthly list of things that are just non-negotiables in your calendar that you are doing. And if you have a schedule like this and a plan, you can stick to it a lot easier and you can just go through those processes. You know exactly what you're doing upon every day of the month. It's like, okay, it's the 20th now. I need to start, coming up with titles, coming up with ideas, and going from there. Once you have a system like this in place, you can just stick to it and consistently create content on an ongoing basis. Now that we have that out of the way, let's start getting into actually coming up with video ideas, because you have a plan now in place and we need to actually come up with some ideas. So what you don't want to have is having no content buckets, no system for what your titles are going to be or where your ideas are going to come from. Every video is going to feel random. It's just going to be you searching across the, the internet with, different ideas, and there's going to be no real direction with your videos, which is not what we want to have. No separation between content types. So what we want to do as a financial advisor, insurance broker, is we want to plan out some content buckets. So now on a monthly basis, we can say, all right, let's pick 2 from education, 2 from personal brand, 1 from authority, 2 from the series, and we'll go from there. And I'm going to get into the different ideas that we can come up with for financial advisors and insurance brokers. But the more that you build this out, the more that you'll have a repertoire and an idea list of videos that you can keep building this over and over, where you can go into your Trello board, which again, I'll link that below, or if you comment Trello, I'll give it to you, and you can start to come up with hundreds of ideas that you can create. So let's just go over the different buckets that we can build here for a financial advisor. So number 1, educational. This is actually kind of like the pillar content or the anchor content that you have on your channel. So depending on which different subcategories within the educational bucket you want to focus on, could be investments, could be insurance, could be financial planning, could be taxation. There is hundreds of ideas that you can create. I mean, just with insurance alone, you have like term, you have permanent, you have whole life, UL, disability, critical illness. How does this work? How does that work? There's like already I could come up with 100 ideas just in insurance alone. Then we go to investments. You could explain different stocks, ETFs, different, fixed portfolios, fixed income, equities. Like there's so many things that you could talk about with that. Financial planning, retirement planning, estate planning, taxation. This is just one bucket. So educational is the bucket, and then all of these are subcategories, which you can go through and list all the different ones you want to work in and create videos on, and from each one, you can see you can create dozens and dozens of videos. So that's one bucket. Another one that I would recommend is personal brand. So I would do this a little bit, not as consistently, maybe 1 per month or something like that. But you could do a day in the life, so like a day in the life of an insurance broker, a financial advisor. That's just a fun little thing for your clients to see. Could be an office tour. If you have an office, you could take them around the office and also meet the team. If you have other, if you're an agency and you have other agents in your agency, you could do a fun little meet the team, a little bit of information about themselves. This isn't going to be that much of an SEO video. You're not going to get people searching for, a day in the life of, or, meet my office. However, the people that already engage with your channel you are going to build more of a connection with them by putting these types of videos out, and having a combination of all these different videos will be able to build more of a channel that has a connection with the audience as opposed to just one where people are searching, they're finding the video, and they're never coming back. Another one is authority pieces. So you could put out opinion pieces about some type of product, or something that is maybe controversial. You could have different opinions about different companies or different products. You could be reviewing different strategies, things like that. This just builds your authority in the industry. News releases, if you have any news releases that come out, any updates, like the FSRA in Canada here, they did a bunch of updates and I made a bunch of, pieces on that, videos on that. So that's always a good one. Any news you want to keep updated with, as well as, if there's updates to the taxation or legislation for maybe registered accounts like RSPs, TFSAs, etc. That's always good to make videos on. And then, if you're comfortable, interviews and debates. I mean, this is a great way to build authority on your channel, to leverage another channel's audience as well. I did many interviews and debates with other YouTubers in the financial space, and I was able to, of course, advertise my platform on their platform, and they were always respectful. Everyone is always, in my opinion, everyone that I spoke with at least was always respectful, and we, appreciated the opinion of the other person, and it wasn't just like you're wrong, you're an idiot. We always, I think, went back and forth in a respectful way, but that is a very good way for you to build authority in the industry, as well as then gain the audience of the individual that you're speaking with. So maybe someone's watching that audience and now they see you and they just love what you're doing and they want to come over and speak with you and maybe work with you. A couple other ones here at the end, talking back and forth. This is just like specifically a short idea. So this is, I've seen this for a lot of different YouTubers where basically one person will be talking, but they'll have two different personalities. So, you could pretend to be a client in one shot, and then in the other shot, you're now the advisor, but it's the same person. This works really good for shorts, for those 60-second clip. That's a really good one to do. Q&A, if you have questions that are quite common, you can basically have just like a Q&A section where you have this pop up. These are shorter videos. Maybe they could be as short as 60 seconds or less, so they would be a short, or potentially they could be shorter ones that are 3 to 5 minutes or 6 minutes. You want to answer them in a little bit of a more timely fashion. And then client plan reviews. Don't obviously share any confidential information, but if you're doing a lot of financial planning, or if you have some investments or some insurance or things like that that you want to just do a case study on, obviously leave out any confidential information and blur anything that needs to be blurred. But this is a good way for people to see what it would look like to work with you, and to see what it would look like from a planning point of view, whether that's insurance, investments, or financial planning. But here's a ton of ideas right here. I mean, you can now build all these out and just pull, let's say 2 to 3 educational videos. Let's do one of those. Let's do 2 of these, and let's do 2 of these. So already right there, that's 8 long form, and then 5 to 10 shorts. You can pull a bunch of different ideas from here for the shorts as well, and this makes it very easy to come up with that list. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about here is using Google, using Answer the Public, using YouTube to find the SEO titles for a lot of these different search terms. So if you go on Google and you Google, let's say, term versus permanent, if you scroll down, you'll see there where it says people also ask. If you click the expand section, you'll see that the list just keeps expanding more and more and more and more. And if you do that, you'll be able to find what people are actually searching for. So what are the actual SEO titles? And from there, you can come up with a ton of different ideas on how to title your video, pardon me. You can also use Answer the Public if you just go to, I think it's answerthepublic.com. And of course, YouTube as well. If you go to YouTube and you just search, you can see what other advisors are actually titling their videos. And then in the search term, it'll have the auto suggest, which is another way that you can determine what people are actually searching for. So this is how you find the SEO titles for all of your ideas. However, it doesn't always need to be, like I mentioned, it doesn't always have to be SEO. You can have, personal branding and potentially authority pieces, which are not strictly SEO based, but will still build that connection with the viewers that are already watching your channel. So we have a pretty good idea of how we can kind of endlessly come up with content now, which leads me to the last and final point that I want to make here. And this is something that I didn't learn in my business and my channel for a long time, and I struggled with for a long time, because if you're on YouTube and you're making videos and you've been making videos for longer than a year, you're going to realize that eventually you're going to get to a point where you feel like you've said everything and you feel like I've already made this video, or I already made something similar to this, or I've already like I'm saying the same thing in every video. And what you're going to find is that if you try to be original in every video and you try to make every single video unique, you are going to like drive yourself into a state of madness, because it's just not possible. So what I found in my own business, as well as the YouTube channel of huge other creators that are in the educational space, is that you don't need to reinvent every video, pardon me. You don't need to say something new in every video, because this is what you need to realize. You don't know when people are coming in. So in your own head, you think, I've already made this video before, it's on my channel. However, the viewer that found that video, they don't know who you are. They've never been to your channel. They've never seen your face. They've never seen you speak. They know nothing about you. So you might think that, you have this huge repertoire of all these videos that have thousands of views and that everyone has seen. But you need to stop that line of thinking, and you need to realize that most likely they don't know who you are and they've never heard you speak before in their life. So every single time you make a video, you need to assume this is the first time they've ever seen you. This is the first time they're getting to know you and hear anything that you say. So just because you said it in this video, 2 years ago, okay, does not mean that you can't say it again way down here. So this is something that took me a while to try and figure out, because I just assumed that, they've watched my channel now, they've seen some of these videos for a long time. No, they've never seen you before. Assume that they're just meeting you for the first time, and realize that you'll be making over the course of the period, you'll realize, after a year, like I said, you'll realize you're making generally the same videos now over and over again from the previous year and the year before and the year before. And if you look at any successful creator in the educational space, whether that's in the insurance industry, whether that's in real estate, whether that's in the mortgage broker space, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You'll see that they post the same videos every single year. It's just 2024 updated, 2025 updated, 2026 updated, but you don't know where your client is coming in from. You don't know where that viewer is starting, and assume they're starting at ground zero, at point one. And if you have to say everything again for the 100th time, it doesn't matter, because their journey is just starting, and just because you said it in the past doesn't mean that they've heard it or they've seen it. So now that you have a solid idea of where to actually begin and come up with ideas, and assuming now that you're using YouTube to drive traffic to some type of landing page or funnel, click here to watch my full breakdown of now actually building a funnel that you can utilize this traffic that you're going to generate from YouTube to actually convert them from leads to clients. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you are enjoying it, all I ask is that you give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.